This is a video where I give you a glimpse into a series I have on my channel called Improv Card Magic. Okay, so let me just show you a simple example, very simple example of the kinds of things you'll be able to do if you watch that series and learn just a handful of principles here. Okay, so I have these well-mixed cards, and they are, there's not in any particular order, and that is absolutely true. Okay, people might not believe that, so let's give it just a couple of shuffles as well. That's fine. And then we can give it a cut, I guess, as well. That'd be fine. Okay, so why don't we go with 20 cards? So let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, so we'll just go with 20 cards. Okay, now we're going to be working with 5 cards at a time. Though one of the cards is going to be kind of like a supervisor. They're going to oversee the card effect and improve our chances of succeeding. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just deal out 5 cards. See 5 cards there. Set the others over here so you can keep an eye on them if you want. Right there. Okay, and then we can mix these further if you like. Okay, and so what you're seeing this in real time. I have no idea what these cards are. Okay, so you'll be seeing these cards as I see them. Okay, so I think what I'll do is I'll choose the 7 as our little supervisor card. He's going to oversee the whole performance here and make sure that we stay on track. Okay, so I'm just dealing those out into 2 piles there. That's just fine. Maybe we'll just deal out the top 2. Okay, why don't we deal out into 4? How would you like these stacked? Left to right? Okay, very good. Deal out again, left to right, right to left. There is something called leapfrog stacking if you're interested in that. You are. Okay, so leapfrog stacking, maybe from right to left, is where it leaps over its neighbor. This one leaps over its neighbor. How would you like these stacked? Left on right? Very good. Have you heard of the up jog? Even or odd up jog? How would you like these stacked? Right on left? Have you heard of a Pharaoh shuffle? It's kind of a fun one. This is where you just perfectly interlace the cards. That's great. We can do something called push-off pairs. How would you like these stacked? Right on left? Okay, very good. We can just deal out into 2 piles a few times with stacking decided by you, left on right. 1 more of those. Okay, very good. Right on left this time. Okay. Very good. Now, I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and just deal out the cards one final time. And I think I know what I've been able to pull off. Let me just confer with our helper card, 7 of diamonds here. Yeah, he agrees with me. What we've been able to do is we've been able to group together cards of the same suit. That's what we've done. So cards of the same suit are now together, and they are indeed. Okay. Now, as you can see here, if I had wanted to, I could have actually grouped together the aces at the beginning. Okay. But then, how are these grouped together? Okay. So anyway, that's kind of one little example. Okay. We have 20 cards, so we do 5 more here. Okay. Very good. Mix these. Okay. Let's put these where you can see them again. Okay, let's just take a look at these here. See what's going on here. Okay, and then see if you can figure out what in the world I'm doing, actually. Is there something about, as you look at the diagrams on the left, is there something that I'm maybe doing that, you can detect, in some way? Okay, I think I'll have the 10 as the helper card this time, if that's okay. Okay, so we'll just go with these as is. Okay, so I think what I'll do is I'll go ahead and just deal them out into 2 piles. How would you like them stacked? Right on left? Oh, dropped one. If I do an up jog, how would you like those stacked? Left on right? Okay, maybe we'll deal out into 4. Do you want left to right stacking or leapfrog stacking from left to right? Left to right, leapfrog. Okay, that's fine. How would you like these stacked? Left on right. Okay, very good. We can also do something where we spell out any card suit. We'll spell it out twice, really, to mix things. So do you have a favorite card suit? Hearts? Okay. So H-E-A-R TS. Okay, that's hearts spelt once. HEARTS. That's spelled a second time. You can do something called a Charlier 1, kind of a fun one. You kind of move the top to the bottom, bottom to the top. Kind of cool. And then from here, I think we'll just Klondike pairs to the table. I took the top and bottom off as 1 and then the middle 2. Okay, let me confer with the 10 as to what we may have accomplished. Oh, that's interesting. We've matched up the cards in a very different way. We've matched them up so they add to the same sum, namely 14. Is that possible? Let's see. 8 plus 6 is 14. Oh, I think it is. Queen, let's see. Queen counts as a 12, right? 12 plus 2 is... We did it. We nailed it. We matched up sums perfectly here. Okay. Wow. Okay, let's do another one. Now, I think what I'll do for the last 2, because we're running out of cards here, is I'm going to begin to explain the structure on the left, okay? So you can kind of see what's going on. Now, if you want to understand how to move from one structure to another, that's where you'll need to watch some of the Improv Card Magic series, because I teach you all of that there. And it's only maybe 5 hours total, I guess, watching it or something. In fact, I think it's less than that, actually. Okay, so so I'll begin to kind of explain what I'm seeing and what I'm doing and maybe why I'm doing it, okay? Now, I don't know if you see anything interesting here. Well, it's kind of interesting that we have the same card value there, different colors. Anything else that's maybe kind of interesting? Got a couple of hearts here, so that's kind of nice. So maybe that would be a good way to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, ostensibly choose the 8 to oversee this whole thing, increase our chances of success. But really what I'm doing is, in fact, take a look at the diagram on the left-hand side of the screen. So what kind of structure is this? If I'm viewing these as a pair and viewing these as a pair, can you find it on the diagram? Well, it's the bottom one. It's called AMP. That's where we have like a 1, 1, 2, 2. So what that means is we're counting these as the same, like a 1, 1, and then these as a 2, 2. These are related in some way, okay? So this is an AMP packet. Well, it ends up that when you have an AMP packet and you do a left-right shuffle with random stacking, it converts it to what's called a 2 cycle. So that's the 2C. Let me just show you that that's the case, okay? What's a 2 cycle? That's where if you break the packet in half, the first card in the first half, which is the 4 of hearts, is related to the first card in the second half, which is the Jack of hearts. Remember, we matched up the suits there. The second card in the first half is the 5 of spades. The second card in the second half is the 5 of diamonds. So we're matching up the values there. So technically, that's a 2 cycle, abbreviated 2C on the diagram. Well, that kind of packet, you can perform a random cuts. You can cut it anywhere you want, or a Charlier shuffle. So spectator can decide how to cut that. It won't hurt that characteristic. We can actually convert it to a mirrored packet. So look on the diagram under M. See if you can spot that. And what way would the numerals 1, 2, 2, 1 represent what we have here? Well, what does it mean to be mirrored? That means the outer ones are related. Well, they are related in the way that we wanted, namely these two have the same suit, both hearts. Come in 1, how are these related to each other? They have the same value. That's what we chose. So this is called a mirrored structure or packet. Well, once you have this, you have something called the stay stack principle. And so what that tells you is for every divisor of the packet size, you can divide that packet of cards into that many piles with random stacking from left to right or right to left, or depending on how many piles you have, you can do this leapfrog stacking that I showed you. Okay, so of course 4 divides into 4, so we can deal out into 4 piles. Now we're free to stack from left to right. That won't hurt anything. We can stack from right to left. That won't hurt anything. Or we can even do a leapfrog stacking where it leaps over its neighbor with random stacking here. So let me just show you that it's still, quote, mirrored. We haven't hurt any. Now, the cards are being moved around. That's the really important thing. In fact, here they've been moved around because now the outer ones are the 5s, and then the inner ones are the hearts, the Jack and 4 of hearts that we're focused on. Okay, so this is still mirrored, so we haven't harmed anything. Another shuffle that can be used on mirrored structures is an even or odd up jog, in which you randomly stack those. Another one is a ferrule shuffle, where you spread the cards, divide in half, and then just perfectly interlace them in some way. One's a ferrule in, one's a ferrule out. Both of them leave this unharmed. It's still mirrored, okay? And there's many other things you can do with a mirrored structure. Well, something nice about a mirrored structure, once it's like this, if I Klondike pairs to the table, it takes the top and bottom off as one. So that would be a wonderful way to finish. Just take the top and bottom. Those are the hearts. Here are the 5s, okay? Then confer with your helper card. What have you done? Well, you've matched up the 5s and you've matched up the cards that have hearts as their suits. And that's exactly what we've done. Okay, so why don't we do one more, because we only have 5 cards left. and I'll kind of explain what I'm doing. And like I said, really most of the details you'll have to pick those up in the larger series. I just can't cover all of that in this short video here, okay? But see if you can spot, and I want to point this out. If you have 5 random cards, there are things that you know. So for example, 5 random cards, there's going to have to be a card suit that repeats. It has to be the case. It's called the pigeonhole principle, okay? Now in this particular packet, we have 3 cards repeating, right? We have 6 of spades, 4 of spades. Well, this is kind of nice. 4 of spades and 8 of spades, okay? So anyway, I was just pointing out there are certain things that you can plan on being true with just even 5 cards, and then down to 4 cards, there'll be things that will have to be true for that as well, actually. Okay, so what do you think would be of interest to, quote, reveal in the end? Now, I think most people would say it's kind of tempting to match those up, right? That would be nice to have the 2s match, okay? Well, think about it. If I remove this one, what kind of structure would this have relative to the 2s? It would be an AMP, and then these would be paired together. They're both spades. Okay, so you'd be matching up card values of 2 and then the spades together. That would be a nice way to go. Now let's just move that back for a second. How about if I move this one out like that? Now, what's the relationship between the 2s? They're in a mirrored relationship. So go look at M on the left. So they're a mirrored relationship, and the 6 and 8 of spades are in a mirrored relationship. So you could view this as mirrored right off if you wanted. Whereas before, when we had them like this, we were viewing it as an AMP at the beginning, okay? So depending on what card you pull out, this will either be a 2-cycle, mirrored, or an AMP. Another one I just saw, just to point this out, is if we got rid of that one, which is kind of the odd person out, and viewed this as mirrored, then 6 and 4 add to 10, and so do 8 and 2 add to 10. So you could finish with the pairs adding to 10, if you would like. And for these particular 5 cards, I don't see a nice way to immediately view it as a 2-cycle and have it be helpful. Okay, so maybe you can see a way of doing it. So why don't we go ahead? Maybe we'll go with the first one. We'll get rid of this. Will be our supervisory card here. He's going to oversee the whole thing. And so we're going to view this as an AMP. So we're going to match up the spades and then match up the 2s. Okay, so as an AMP, as I've mentioned, you can deal out into 2 piles. It's now going to be a 2-cycle. Let me just show you that again. 2-cycle. What's a 2-cycle? This is where the card in the first half is related to the card in the first card in the second half. The second card in the first half 4, is related to the second card in the second half, 8, because they're both spades. Okay, and once it's a cyclic structure, you can Charlier shuffle it as many times as you want, okay? And then we could just deal the cards. This, by the way, dealing half the cards of a 2 cycle, dropping the rest on top, it's just another way that I've shown in that series on Improv Card Magic for converting a 2 cycle to a mirrored structure. Okay, so this is mirrored now, okay? And then once it's mirrored, you can do all of that mixing that I showed you and so much more. You can do this Charlier 1, it's kind of a fun one. You push off the top card, bottom card goes on top, top to bottom, bottom to top. That's called a Charlier 1. It's still mirrored, which is really nice. And then since it is mirrored, what that means, let me just show you something here really fast. Since it's mirrored, if I deal it out 1, 2, and then deal out the second 2 cards in reverse order, it's going to put the 2, then the 4, and then the 8 and the 2. Okay? So that's another way to kind of separate the cards into the pairs that we've noted if it's mirrored at that moment. Okay? So anyway, these are just, this is really just a glimpse into that series. And like I said, the series isn't that long, but it'll give you all of the skills that given just about any packet of cards, you can see structure in it that you can take advantage of and finish with an organization of the cards that's very surprising, and more importantly, an organization that you can predict, before you even flip these over, you can state what the outcome will be. So anyway, thank you for watching, and take a look at other videos on the Absolute Math Magic channel, as well as the Improv Card Magic series, for which I'll add a link in the description below. So thank you again.